explore. But it's not that, the question, is there life after death, is kind of backwards, because it's really that the physical reality is the secondary reality. That spiritual non-physical reality is the primary one. So, saying, is there life after death, implies that somehow this physical reality is somehow primary and that afterwards is secondary. But that's a complete reversal of the way Bashar says things actually are. We are spirit first and foremost, and we are in spirit right now.
Right. I've got so many scenarios dancing around in my head how we might rephrase that, or I don't know that we even need to. Forget that. What I wanted to just remark, though, is, you've heard countless examples of people that have had NDEs or even out of body experiences where they talk about that level of consciousness is more real than the physical, conscious waking state. And that, of course, lends credence to what you're saying. I think that makes sense.
Yeah, that's our natural state. And we just simply wake up back into it when we die. We let go of the focus that's happening within the soul that concentrates our attention into what we call the experience of physical reality. But it's just a concentration that's happening within the soul. The soul doesn't go anywhere. Physical reality is happening within it. That's why Bashar says it's more accurate to say that instead of saying that the body has a soul, it's more accurate to say the soul has a body.
There have been people that have witnessed individuals, quote unquote, crossing over that have said they have seen something emerge from the body at death and they believed it to be the soul.
Right, but that's our interpretation of what's happening. From the soul's point of view, it's simply that their focus to physical reality is softening. We interpret that, and that softening going back to the size, shall we say, of the soul from this dense focus. It's softening and relaxing and going back to the diameter, the size of the energy sphere that is the soul. And we interpret that from our physical reality as if the soul is leaving the body. But it's actually a softening of the focus of the soul so that it is now beyond the scope of physical reality. It's broadening out. But from our linear perspective, we see that as the soul leaving the body. We're actually seeing an expansion of the soul's awareness going back to its natural state.
For those that are looking on, that's what they're actually seeing.
That's what they're actually seeing. But because we are linearly focused here and we think in terms of individual beings, we interpret that expansion as if it's a literal body leaving the body. It's like a soul body leaving, a spirit body leaving the physical body. But that's just like we're seeing a slice of the reality.
Right. I get
not
that.
The whole holographic, three-dimensional or multidimensional version of it.
It's almost like we're witnessing a quantum effect going back into the vacuum, going from particle to wave, but they're never two distinct things. They're just two different states, but still fundamentally the same thing.
Right. But again, we personify our experiences here in physical reality. So it's natural for us to say that when we see the soul expanding back to its natural state, that we interpret it as something is leaving the body because we consider the body to be the primary focus, and it's not. But that's the way it's an interpretation. It's a symbolic representation from a space-time linear point of view of what's happening in terms of the soul expanding back, its focus expanding back to its natural state.
I think everything that we experience through the five senses can only be an interpretation within the corporeal state that we're in.